All right. So to anyone coming in right now, I guess I'll wait a little bit. I'm just going to be today sketching. I just felt like drawing a dinosaur. Today's live stream's not going to be super long, but yeah, I'm just going to jump in, and once we get some more people in here, I'll start talking about what we're going to talk about today. But I apologize for being late. I ended up having to move the live stream back by about an hour. So that's why I didn't, or hour and a half, I guess now. That's why I didn't start at 10. I apologize for that. I'm really trying to find a time where I can make it the same time every week and make it consistent. It's just kind of hard with the way that my schedule is, but I'm trying to get it set up so that we can have it be the same time in the future. But yeah, that's why I was late today. I apologize for that, for anyone who saw my announcement yesterday talking about it. So today what I want to talk about, and as always, you guys can ask questions and we can kind of cover whatever topic you'd like to, but I wanted to start out by mentioning that I will be launching my Patreon pretty soon. And I wanted to create a way to provide a little bit more value for those people who were more interested. And so what I'm thinking I'm going to set it up like is that it will be kind of like almost like a subscription basis, so that instead of buying my courses on Udemy, you could just be a patron. And depending, I don't know yet exactly how it's going to work, but if you're at like a certain reward tier, then you would get access to all of my courses, as well as any other courses that I make in the future. You would just be able to gain access to those immediately by being a patron. I think something like that will is going to be pretty good. So that's one of the rewards I've been thinking about. And then the other one I think is going to be creating PDFs that have the like kind of just like assignments or like worksheets or like kind of tutorials for the videos I put on YouTube, but just create like a PDF to go along with it that you could follow along. And then it would have like a Photoshop document with all the steps on it and stuff listed out, just to make things a little bit easier and more convenient. That was the other kind of patron reward I was thinking about. But what I want to know is, what do you guys think? Is there any for those of you who have been patrons of other content creators before, things like that, what are some rewards that you've enjoyed, or that you think are cool, think would be good, useful rewards? Let me know in the comments. It's pretty quiet so far. Maybe let me just check, make sure I'm not missing them on. Oh, okay. Yeah, let me know. What do you think? What would you like to see as a reward for being a patron, and what do you think would be value and make it worth your money? I don't want to just ask for money without providing something in return. Yeah, to you, what sort of thing would be worth it for you? Put in the comments. And also as well, you guys are welcome to start asking questions. For those of you who are just coming in, I'm just sketching today, sketching a dinosaur. Looks like he's going to be a robot dinosaur. So Wondering if the chat is working or you guys are just real quiet today. Must just be quiet. Yeah, it's working. Thank you, Craig. Making sure I didn't get left hanging. It's probably my fault since I moved the, ended up moving the time. It's working. Processors behind the scenes, brush packs, etc. Okay. Process videos, you mean like more like kind of like what I do on YouTube already, or something different? Is there something more specific you'd like to see in process videos that I don't already show? That would be my question for you, Robin. And then same with like behind the scenes. You mean like behind the scenes, like in my studio and like my workspace, or what do you mean by that? And then brush packs, that's a really good one. I'm gonna write that down actually really quick before I forget. I'll put it on my phone. That's a great idea. Honestly, I really don't make that many of my own brushes, but I totally could. I just haven't before. But that's not a bad idea. And yeah, Craig said, I really got a ton of value from that drawing picture just from start to finish, fleshing it out with color light, etc. That's where I need the most help. Okay, cool. Yeah, doing the big tutorial things. That's typically what I use my courses for, because they're really long, and YouTube seems to not work as good of a conduit for that as Udemy does. But I think with setting up a Patreon and doing it, it would make it a lot more accessible. I think I'd probably only do it like $20 a month, or maybe even like 15, and that would just give you access to all of my courses. I don't know. I'll have to work on it and see where it's gonna work out for me, and as well as for people that are gonna be using my stuff, that are gonna be like buying it or subscribing or whatever. But we'll figure it out. Right now, I'm just on this drawing. I'm just in the real rough stages, getting an idea for how I want the anatomy to be. Kind of a stylized, take on it. It's not totally accurate, even close, really, anatomically, but that's okay because it's going to be a robot, and we can make him however we want. Hi, Jay. Nice to have you joining us today. And thanks for the feedback, guys, Craig and Robin. I appreciate that. Yeah, so it's not a ton of people in here. Like I said, I think it's because I moved it. So let's go ahead and open it up to any questions you guys might have, or whatever it is you want to talk about. Keep it real casual. When I think about Patreon, I always think about it by the year. So 20 month is 240 a year. If you can think about your value as some multiple of that, 10 times or 5 times, $2,400 value for 240 a year. That is a really good point. Yeah, I usually release like 4 courses a year, and they usually are about $100 or more per course. And sometimes I do more. I actually typically do more than 4, I suppose. And then I think with all the other stuff, added on, it would definitely be worth more than that, in my opinion. Yeah, that's a really great idea. Thanks. Thank you so much for making these Procreate videos. I find them to be really helpful. Yeah, no problem. Yeah, I find that there's not a ton of videos out there on Procreate. There's a ton of people who use Procreate, but it doesn't seem like there's a ton of content out there. I know there's Mike Henry. He does all of his stuff in Procreate. His stuff is pretty good. But stuff is a little bit more cartoony, and there's nothing wrong with that. But I think there's also a market of people looking for less cartoony instruction, I suppose. But yeah, that's part of the reason why I started deciding to make some of these, is because it felt like, man, there's not a lot out there when it comes to working in Procreate. So yeah, all right. Like I said, we're keeping it pretty loose here. Just a casual sketch today. It's not going to be anything super fancy. I'm going to have him have these big guns on his back, sort of like on his hips. Thanks, Craig. I appreciate it. Cool. Dinosaurs with guns, man. Can't complain about that. Jinxed it. Yeah, you can. There's definitely gonna be people who can complain about that, but I don't know if you guys have seen. I might offend someone by talking about this, but man, I think it's pretty funny. Good point, Robin. Yeah, so the point of it, I think, is just going to be like a combat dinosaur, heavy tank sort of type guy. Anyways, so yeah, I saw on YouTube, I saw a video of these people. I mean, we've all heard of flat earthers and stuff like that, but yeah, there's these people who are saying that they didn't think dinosaurs were real, and that it was all a conspiracy, and that paleontologists basically had just like made it all up in order to, I don't know why they would make it up. They said that was for the fame. They're like, well, why wouldn't you do it for the fame and like the money and stuff? And I was like, do you know any paleontologists by name? I do, because I'm fairly into paleontology, but do most people know any famous paleontologists where they're just like, oh yeah, man, I wish I was as famous as a paleontologist? And like, yeah, they make decent money. They make the average, I believe, is like 96,000 a year, which is just under six figures, which it's bad, but I don't think you could really be considered like filthy rich. Like, you're doing well for yourself, but you're not rich. And on top of that, paleontologists, man, they spend like all of their time, not all of it, but they spend part of their time just out in like the desert, I guess pretending to dig out dinosaur bones in like the blazing heat and in like basically miserable conditions. It just is like absurd. It just doesn't make sense. And I guess like all of these fossils are just, all these paleontologists are actually going to special effects sculpting school so that they can sculpt these extremely detailed animal skeletons, I guess. I don't know. It was weird. I couldn't believe it. I couldn't tell if it was real. Like, there's no way this person actually believed this, but no, they did. So maybe if anyone out there, if any of you guys don't believe in dinosaurs, you can explain to me why not. Give me the evidence. I can already tell this is going to be bad. I'm talking too much. I can never draw and talk at the same time. That always turns out bad. Every time. Let's see. It's a dinosaur. Yep. Yeah, surgeons cut people open, mechanics fix cars, and skeptics find stuff to disbelieve. It's more like seems like I don't know. I don't even know if they're skeptics as much as because I don't. Their basis for it was I would consider myself pretty skeptical. I think it's a pretty good thing to be skeptic. I don't think you should really believe anything, at least things that are that drastically change your worldview or your life. I don't think you should believe claims unless there's evidence for it. But these guys weren't really being skeptics because they had evidence. They just didn't want to acknowledge it. The reason they believed it was, I think it was religious based, that it didn't kind of coincide with their religious views. And so they didn't really want to accept that as part of reality, I guess. I don't know. Seems like, I don't know. It was like a big conspiracy that, I don't know. It's just weird. Like, why would paleontologists care about your religion and like trying to disprove it and go through this huge hoax in order to create dinosaurs? I don't know. It's just weird. Just like this drawing, which is turning out like garbage. Like I said, I had such a hard time talking and drawing at the same time. Yeah, I use a multi-method, multi-level process for organizing information. Maybe I'm gonna bring this down. We're gonna do a couple more thumbnails and see if we can find something better that we like. I don't know. I'm just having a hard time with this one. Let's see. Time to change him into Raptor? Yeah, I'm thinking maybe. I'm going down. I'm gonna try more of like a bipedal sort of guy and see maybe if that's something I like better. But I don't know. I feel like every time I do the live stream, I'm super self-conscious that what I'm gonna draw just looks horrible because I just have such a hard time concentrating on what I'm drawing and answering questions and commenting at the same time, that I just kind of like my pencil starts wandering, like I'm not actually thinking about what lines I'm putting down. And then eventually I end up with something that looks like literal trash. So I think I've seen something similar to this before where it's like a T-Rex with like robot arms because, their arms are so little. But I think maybe I could do my own take on it. Especially the other weird thing too, just going back to the dinosaur thing, it's like when I was a kid, for example, I still love dinosaurs. I just thought they were so cool, and a lot of little kids could just love dinosaurs. They think they're the coolest thing ever because they kind of are, and just like the idea that like all these kids who actually do end up becoming paleontologists because they love dinosaurs so much. You tell me that they just like they're super into these dinosaurs. They learned about it as a kid, then they grow up, they become a paleontologist, they get initiated into this weird like conspiracy paleontology cult. I don't know, and they're just like, we have something to tell you. Dinosaurs aren't real. We made it all up. And then the paleontologists are like, what? What is it? They're just like, no, like it's not true. And they're like, I'm going to expose it to the world. And then they just kill him. It's like the mafia. And they're just like, nope, I guess we can't trust you. And they kill him off. And then the people who do accept it, they're now like initiated into their, I don't know. It's just so weird. It doesn't make any sense. Like, it doesn't make any sense. it's weird the hoops people jump through to kind of reconfirm what they already believe in order to try and, instead of fitting what their beliefs around the evidence, they try and fit the evidence around their beliefs, and it just doesn't really end up working like that. I have wanted to. I don't believe in flat Earth. Once again, I think that doesn't really make sense to me. But man, I really want to talk to someone who's a flat earther and just ask them some questions I've had that I just, if you're a flat earther, like, how does this make sense to you? You know, like, what about this? You know, do you actually have an answer to this, or do you just like ignore it? Anyone out there, a flat earther? Love to talk. Maybe you can answer my questions. All right. Yeah, that looks kind of cool. Once again, we're keeping it really rough. These are just kind of some thumbnails we're doing. Like I said, I don't have a ton of time today. I'm going to try and figure out a time where I can do it consistently every week. But I don't know. It's just hard, but we'll see. I want to set it up so that's not like a guessing game every time. And then you guys know exactly when it's going to be and whatnot. I moved around because it didn't really make sense to shoot missiles at his own head. So, all right, we got some questions in there. I bet you believe we have actually gone to the moon too. You know, I do believe we've gone to the moon, but I'm not actually quite convinced that the first time we went was real. I don't know. I've seen some pretty convincing evidence that it was faked in order to compete with Russia. But I do think that since then we have actually gone to the moon. I do think we have a rover on Mars and all that stuff. But I don't know if I'm entirely convinced that the first moon landing was real. I don't know. I'd have to look into it more. I don't have a strong opinion either way, but I have seen some interesting stuff about it. But I'm not convinced definitely one way or the other. Other than that, we have now. I do think we've gotten to the moon now. Let's see. I'm a traditional art switching to digital. Got the new Pro pencil 2 weeks ago, and have been following every Procreate tutorial I can find. Oh, that's awesome, Matthew. Yeah, I mean, that's the way to learn. You just got to keep practicing, learning. Internet's great. Tons of free resources. Keep it up. Make his head a little bigger. And bring this in as well a bit. What brush do you use for inking? Well, I don't really do a bunch of inking very often. I don't do like a lot of comic book style art. but when I do my final line art, I just use the brush I'm using, which is a technical pencil with the max size turned up. I just use that, but in the past when I have inked, I just used I think it was a studio pen or the technical pen. I think it was a studio pen. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it was that one. And then you can turn the streamline up. I usually turn the streamline up when I'm inking for a lot of stuff just to help keep my lines a little smoother. But yeah, I just don't do that much inking, honestly. All right, let's do one more thumbnail. Probably won't finish one of these today, but we'll get a good start. And next time, probably go into it a little more. All right, let's do one more thumbnail. Yeah, I apologize for not having a lot of time today. Freaking holidays, man. So busy. Let's do, I know what. I've kind of already drawn something like this before, but I just really like the shapes it creates. Might like to do a little bit more detailed and actually like paint it. So I'm doing it again. So deal with it. I would say Matthew Lindsay. I would say as an arts, I avoid full side views of anything really. I'm guessing you're talking about. Are you talking about like taking side view when you're drawing something, like the perspective, like keeping it 3/4? I think that's what you're talking about. A battle rotor triceratops would look cool. Yeah, that is not a bad idea. I'm not gonna lie. I sometimes avoid drawing triceratops because I feel like every time I try and draw the horn fills, it doesn't look how I want it to look, and I always want to try and stylize it and kind of make it look cooler, and then it looks dumb. But that's a bad excuse. I should just practice and get better at it till it doesn't look dumb. But that's the reality. I'll probably work on these during the week, and then next live stream have something a little bit more fun that we can start painting on, so you don't just have to watch the boring sort of rough stages in the beginning. His legs are way too big. He looks like a freaking hippopotamus. He'd be like a big cargo dinosaur, maybe. He carried a bunch of stuff. All right. Maybe these antennas are for like long distance relays. I don't know. We can work out some of the more details when we get to the drawing. Yeah, that's pretty cool. I think, I don't know, I kind of do all of them. I don't know. I'm not happy with the Stegosaurus. I need to look at some reference photos to kind of nail that one down a little more, but these other ones, I think they look all right. Maybe something we could work with, but I hate to do this. But I don't have, like I said, I don't have that much time today. I only have about half an hour. So we're going to call it for today's live stream. But we did get some thumbnails done. So next time, like I said, I'll work on it over the week. And then next live stream, we can actually start painting. And I'm going to figure something out so we can get this more consistent and have the same time every week. But before I go answer these last questions here, any updates on when Photoshop is coming to iPad? No, I should start following that though a little bit more closely. I think when it comes out, I'm going to do like a review video, but I will this week actually. Let me write that down for a video idea. This week I'll do like everything kind of going on with that and what updates you can expect, what things are coming out for it. All right, so yeah, I'll get you some information on that. We'll see. I don't know. They had like the Photoshop or Adobe Sketch, I think it was called. What's the? I don't know. They had like a light Photoshop basically for iPad, and I wasn't super impressed with it. It wasn't bad. It was just really basic. You couldn't do a whole lot of stuff. I've used a lot of other painting apps for the iPad, like Sketchbook and even tried Art Rage and some stuff like that. And I just think Procreate's the best one so far. But who knows? Maybe this is gonna change things up. It might I don't know. Might create some actual competition for Procreate. I'm hoping that I'm really hoping that they'll be adding text. If they have text in Photoshop, ooh, that might be a killing blow for Procreate. Will I be switching to the Photoshop? I don't know yet. I'm gonna try it and see what I like better. The main reason I like Procreate on my iPad over working on Photoshop right now, honestly, is because the quick keys and the gestures for the iPad are so much quicker and more intuitive than using the quick keys on Photoshop. And I just like how Procreate is so streamlined. It basically, I don't have to worry about all these other options that I'm not going to use for painting. I know you can kind of change things around in Photoshop, but it just makes it so much simpler. And then I don't know. I don't have a huge need for a lot of the things in Photoshop, and Procreate meets a lot of my needs. But there are a few things that I wish Procreate had that they have been adding, like the warp tool. They added that. I was really happy about that. Text tool would be really, really nice. I wish they would add a text tool. Adjusting the gamma on things would be nice. Adjusting the flow on brushes would be nice. But yeah, those are some things I'd like to see if they introduce those into the Photoshop for iPad. I think that it could be I might switch. I don't know. We'll see. Might keep doing Procreate just because that's kind of what my channel is based around a lot, but I'm not hard committed to it. So anyways, yeah, I'm gonna call it a day. Thanks guys. Thanks for taking the time to come hang out with me. Like I said, stay posted. I'm gonna get a consistent time going. We'll figure something out. Yeah, it was fun hanging. You guys have a great rest of your day.